Welcome everyone to the Elephants on Business podcast, improving your small business journey one episode at a time. And in today's episode, Oz and I are going to talk about burnout, which is a big thing that happens in small business, and I think a very important topic coming towards the end of the year. G'day, Oz.
Yes. G'day. It's great to be back.
Now, obviously, Oz, small business we talk about, has a lot of pressure, a lot of new things you have to learn. There's a lot of failures in it. And
very challenging and demanding,
It's a demanding task you're taking on when doing a small business. And most people, myself included, and I know you and the other people I know in small business, sometimes the way you tackle that task is you put more hours in, you put more energy in, you put more focus in. But you have to be very careful and watch out for burnout.
Yeah. And especially leading up to the end of the year, we're doing this in December. You've gone through the whole year pretty much, and you've probably set some goals for the year, and it's right on the last leg. You probably want to achieve them and enjoy that break, but obviously that break is coming, so it's nice to maybe unwind a little bit during that break. And it is very demanding, obviously, going from Jan to December, and you do feel burnt out.
Absolutely.
I'm sitting here right now, and I do feel like I'm a bit tired. Like my back's still sore.
Yeah, you're getting older.
Getting older and tired.
And I think that's the most important thing. Like anything, acknowledging that it's okay to be burnt out. It's okay to be tired. It's okay sometimes to feel like, oh man, getting up this morning or getting up this week has been a grind. And acknowledging that is a part of business. It's not like this beautiful curve and it's like amazing every day and it just gets better and better and better. It's up, down, left, right. But acknowledging that burnout can happen, probably will happen, and it can be very detrimental.
Yeah.
Is why we want to do this episode, because we both faced it. And it's really important to, do these like 5 steps that we're going to talk about to try and avoid it.
And just before we go to the steps, I think like an important point also is, like when you are reaching that burnout and you are fatigued, it's always important to reflect on why you started in the first place. I think that always keeps you going, even though you go through those waves. I think that why aspect is always quite critical to just reflect always back on. And I think it puts you back in check and in line in terms of, why did I start? What was my vision at the start? And I want to continue this vision and make sure I can succeed.
And sorry, again, to add on to that is you're 100% right, Oz. The why you're doing things, it makes you push through the ups and downs, and burnout is obviously down. And it's really important to acknowledge when you're burnt out, it generally means you've been doing a lot of work beforehand. So you have to appreciate that you're burnt out because you have been accelerating. You might be growing. You're trying and failing new things. These are fantastic things to do in business.
Yes.
And it's like if you went to the gym over and over and over again, and you hammered your body and you're just so sore you don't want to go to the gym. That's maybe not the best thing in the world, but you have to acknowledge you've been doing some extraordinary stuff.
Yeah, and if you just take a day off in that example and, understand why you started the gym in the first place, you can come back when you're a little bit more refreshed.
So the first one, Oz, which is very, very hard at the start of your small business, is to try and set boundaries.
Yes.
Understand that work at the start of your small business is probably a large part of your life because you're trying to get it off the ground. But as time progresses, setting clear boundaries is really important.
Yeah, I think those boundaries are very important. Obviously, having your personal life boundary and making sure that's quite clear. Yeah. As you said at the start, maybe the first 12, 18, 24 months even maybe of the small business journey, it is quite challenging and tough. And you are, probably putting in a lot of effort, and you're probably blurred that line quite a bit.
Especially with COVID, right? As well, working from home. If you're a home-based professional service business, your laptop's always there staring at you, and it's a to-do list always with small business.
Yeah.
But setting the boundary is just very refreshing when you plan and go, well, I'm going to do this these days, or this day I'm not going to actively work. But I guess in your life, Oz, or in your business, like how do you set boundaries? Do you not? Do you just do it on the fly?
Yeah, like obviously at the start it was more just on the fly, but as the business has grown, try to have a little bit more clear boundary line. In the past probably was working on the weekends quite a lot more. Now it's more I try and zone off on weekends and really enjoy it. There is obviously times where we're still busy and you might do some weekends, but essentially try and have that clear boundary in my life. And then also, I do like to go to the gym at times, and certain days I try and leave work early at times. Obviously, that doesn't happen all the time as well, but if you can try and stick to it, I think that creates a little bit of a nice boundary to enjoy work plus have some time off.
Yeah, and for me, I kind of feel like the way I do it now is I have some very defined boundaries, and then I'm just, the rest of the times, I'm hyper aware of how I'm feeling. So for me personally, generally I try and hammer out work Monday to Thursday, and I like to enjoy Friday. So that's like one of the hard boundaries that I have. The other hard boundaries is I pick up my son from childcare at 4:30 most
so
days.
It forces you to leave early.
And so I get up in the morning and do work behind, but I'm very set on that. And on Sundays, when I do a lot of activities with my son and my wife, like we go to sports or swimming, whatever it is, no work.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time, when I am pushing the pace, I just monitor my energy. When you're tired. And when I was maybe a bit younger and a bit more naive, I'm like, no, I'll push through it. Now I realize that I'm just super unproductive.
Yeah, no matter how much coffee you drink, like you're just staring at the screen. You're probably not doing much.
I'm just clicking around a whole bunch of bullshit. And to be honest, I now realize that it's better to just go sleep.
Yeah.
And now I prioritize a lot of that kind of stuff, which
leads
point
on
number
to
two.
to point 2. Yep.
Self-care. Like self-care, I feel like is a word that is hard to like talk about, especially sometimes in men who are a bit more, have a bit more of an ego, or you just feel bad to say that I need to take care of myself, but taking care of yourself is just imperative.
Yeah, so like obviously getting enough sleep, eating quite well, and then another one is, obviously trying to do some exercise or any type of activity at all, Having a hobby is nice, if you like running, going for long walks, cycling, whatever, even fishing, you can go out. It's not really that intensive, but it's a time to just zone out and enjoy yourself a little bit.
A friend of mine, when I started the business, he has a very, very big business, and he said to me, he goes and plays tennis a lot. He's never played tennis before. I've known him from school, and I was like, what the hell are you doing playing tennis? And I asked him, and he goes, I just need something to learn that's completely different, that's not over the top. And he goes, so on Wednesdays, I just got a tennis lesson. It's an hour. I always thought, what are you doing? Like, how do you fit that in? You don't even like tennis. And now this year, I prioritize going to the gym. I got a little personal trainer, and I try and do some boxing or something different. And the benefit I feel is just unbelievable. That hour in the day, you think that the world is going to collapse around you, but I'm 10 times more efficient in the rest.
Yeah, because when you come back, you feel maybe energized. You've refreshed. Conquered something for the day as well. And
you're learning something different. So when you have a day at work, which is a down day or a lost day or something bad went wrong, and I go do this thing and I've maybe progressed there, it's really rewarding.
Yeah.
And so it balances out the drama of small business.
I think also in this point, like we touched upon it, like eating well, like obviously that was a point. We see this from our experiences as well.
Bad.
Sometimes, you have a massive lunch or like we might order some pizzas and
it's dead.
You have almost one whole pizza to yourself.
Yeah,
and
no work's getting done afterwards.
You're not going to get any work done after that. So,
and correct me if I'm wrong, when you were younger, you could eat 5 pizzas, no issues.
Yeah.
No
so
issues.
I think
flying through life. Now, if I don't have 7, 8, sometimes 9 hours sleep, I'm a wreck.
Yeah.
It's okay to understand that and just adjust your day.
Yeah. And I think that eating, like managing what you eat, the portions, not overeating, I think during the day is a big one for, for me personally as well at times. Like obviously there, you do cross that boundary and you might overeat at lunch, and you can see it does, it does affect your performance for the next hour after lunch, in a sense. So I think, just organizing that, having plenty of snacks, water, hydrating yourself, I think you'll probably like operate at a more efficient level, which will just give you a little bit more productivity during the day.
And at the start of the business, you do kind of need to head down and just get things done. And as your business hopefully grows and is a bit more successful, you have to make smarter decisions and prioritize better. And burnout is is more a function of a mental side as the business grows, because you have to make the right decision. So you stress about the decision. It's not that much of a function of doing 50 tasks. It's finding which is the one that will move the needle the most.
Yeah.
And that can be tiring. And so things like sleep, things like fitness, things like food, I am now learning personally, which I never thought before, there is a merge of health and success in business. And you go, you don't have to go be a marathon runner. You just have to be mindful of the potential impacts it has on both sides.
Yeah, exactly.
Number
three, yeah.
This is a big one.
Delegating of tasks. That's what we had here. So that's a huge one, right? So like, it's quite naive to think you're going to be able to do every single task within the business within that day. It's nice to lean on your team members to go, well, I need assistance here, and try and delegate as much tasks as you can, so then you can focus on maybe the most important, the most urgent tasks, and have those other tasks delegated to team members.
And it's I think of delegation as a multitude of things. People go, well, how am I going to delegate? I'm a one-man band. But you really have to think of delegation as getting other people to do things. So in our business, we have team, right? We have a team. We're very fortunate to have offshore team. We have a team in Australia. So we pass work around. So that's delegation. And we made that investment. But at the same time, I use things like Fiverr.com, Upwork to do logo designs, to do graphic designs. We have a social media company that helps us out. Or I just get advice from friends.
Exactly. So
sometimes
like when we
it's
say,
not like delegating a piece of work. Sometimes it's calling a friend and going, I have this problem. Could you just help me out? Or how would you tackle it? And you delegate assistance of getting a decision. And I think that's really important to think, just because you're a one-man band, there is a circle of people around you that can help out, paid or not, listening to podcasts or not, try and help you alleviate the thought that it's all on your plate. And I think that's the biggest thing for burnout. When you try and take on the world, you can do it for a little while, but after a while you can't.
Yeah.
Your business pressure grows beyond you, and it's about teaming with people around you, delegating tasks, whether it's staff internally, outsourced providers, contractors, online sites, whatever, to get that off your plate.
Yeah. And I think that's a big one, those freelance sites.
I was trolling Fiverr this morning for things that I wanted to get done. I'm like, I might need a letterhead done, or I might need this, or we want to try an email signature. Just the most minutiae tasks. You'd be surprised. We had a data entry task the other day, and we were like, okay, we might just tackle it ourselves. And I think I paid $130, someone on Fiverr, and it ended up being 200 pages of written data that this person did. It would have taken us 2 weeks, and I would have hated my life.
Yeah, because you would try and fit that in within the course of running the business and ensuring that you're satisfying your clients on the other side. So you probably don't have a large chunk of time to devote to such a task, and it's just going to drag on, and it
those
feels
menial
shit.
tasks are really important. They're just probably more value doing somewhere else, or it's okay to say that I don't like doing things like that. Like it's totally okay. There's things in business that you will not like doing, but that are super important. And if you try and force your way to do them, it's great. You might save a bit of money, but you do that continuously, you're going to get fed up. And that is what burnout is.
Yeah, exactly. So it goes on to the next point, right? So the next point here is just having some breaks. And when we say breaks, it's just the regular breaks during the day. So it might mean, just going for that short walk to go pick up a coffee, or, just moving away from your laptop, even like just looking outside the window for 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
You guys are good at it. You guys go for a walk. I try and go to the gym. We in the office are pretty close. Like, it's not a massive office. So we chat a lot during the day, and we get off our desk, and I'm a big advocate of just like, don't sit at your desk and try and do 8 hours work. There are times for that. It's great. Shut the door, do your work. And there are times to just take a break, refresh, see how people are going, get a bit of energy. Oz might have a good win. I get some energy off it. But if you're a small business, I think it's really important to maybe schedule that in your day. Like, it's easy to just do work and grind it out.
Yeah.
And we're a big believer of like calendar management. Like, try and have parts of the day where you do hard tasks, parts of the day where you do easy tasks, parts of the day where it's enjoyable. And if you can lock in time just to take a breather, it's okay to read The Age. It's okay to go on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And we've got, some TVs around the office.
There's more TVs than people in our office.
So sometimes we might just chuck something on, have that 5-10 minute break, you're away from the laptop and the issues, and you can come back to the desk.
All of these things that we're talking about, you can see like set boundaries, self-care, delegate, regular breaks. It all sounds like we're telling you not to work, which it is. If you look at them in individuality, you're like, oh, you're telling me to take a break and not work. You're telling me to give someone else work. You're telling me to prioritize my health before work. And the reason, if you actually look at this, is business is a marathon. You want to be here in 20 years' time, and you want to be at an optimal performance 20 years' time. That whole adage of the tortoise and the hare is exactly what business is.
Yeah.
You go hard for 1 year, great. If you can do that for 20 years straight, great. There are people out there that are high energy and can get that done. For the majority, and like I'm in the majority, I'm not a superhuman at all. I'm just trying to work at a consistent 80%. Every day, day in, day out, 80% for 20 years. And the compound of that is where I think I will win.
There's a lot of value in that, yeah.
So it's not about taking you away from work. It's just understanding that consistent output wins.
Yeah, over a long period of time.
The last one here is seek support. Huge one. I remember starting this business. It was just Gav and I. We were working out of a small office in the city. And the biggest thing we did was we went to co-working. Co-working is where I met Oz, where I met Sam, where I met a lot of my quote business friends who are now friends. And asking people around, talking to people, sitting in a cafe, just being around other people.
Other small business owners as well, right?
It's very energizing because everyone is facing the same challenges. It's nice to have a venting solution. Sometimes it's hard to talk to your spouse, your partner, because you feel a bit ashamed. Like I felt ashamed going to Naomi, my wife, and saying, business is hard. And she's just like, oh no, what does that mean for this? Oh my God, what's going to happen for
you? Because then they start stressing about,
they stress and they worry for you, right? Sometimes you don't want to pass that burden. So finding people around is super important.
And I think that co-working ends up being quite nice. Like it's almost like a support group for small business owners. Absolutely. Where, as you said, everyone is probably tackling the same issues. Like
because you go to that co-working place, generally you're of the same size business. You're not going to...
Yeah, and you're starting off like you're in year one, maybe year two.
Spot on.
And there's a lot of one-man sort of bands there or, slowly growing. So, they're probably going through the same issues as you are. If you do find someone that's maybe 1 or 2 years ahead of you,
it's also great.
It's also nice to just bounce ideas, and say, like, what did you do in this instance, or how did you tackle these problems, and maybe they might have a little bit of insights that help you find the solution that you're after, or just guide you to take that step. So
and things like small business groups, like. Yes, some of those networking groups come with pressure, like I have to have referrals and this, that, but they are valuable because communication and venting and talking about your problems is the best way to dissect the problem, and the best way to release stress is through communication. We talked about that heaps. Like generally, as in our office, I think we can communicate more and more and more because it's really a nice way to de-stress, and burnout is all about releasing the stress of small business and understanding that there are stressful periods, but you gotta get through it. And sometimes getting through it is just taking a step back, relaxing. You can afford to take that holiday. You can afford to take time. It's okay to put an out of office on those small tasks. You might feel like, oh, I'm failing. I'm not putting in all that hustle culture on the internet. It's a bit of a joke, like
especially if you're organized as well and you've put in that calendar management and systems in place. I think there should be times for that where like I said, if you're super organized and you've got those systems in place, you should allow for a little bit of a break at times.
Absolutely. Amazing. Well, hopefully you had a bit of a break listening to us and we didn't put you to sleep. Or maybe we did put you to sleep. That would be great. And reach out if you have any questions. Oz and I will continue. We're not far from the end of the year, so try and plan for some time to relax.
Yeah, great stuff.
Amazing.
Cheers.
Thanks again.
Thanks.
Bye.